All right, guys, I'm back. I wasn't really paying attention to my first turn there and kind of fucked that up, but it's not a huge deal, all things considered. Um, yeah, I think we're just gonna we could put the Razortooth Stalker in a position where it's gonna be able to catch the Phoenix. I think we could also like Aegis Wings or something to catch the Phoenix. At this level, the Phoenix isn't that great. It's the level 2 Phoenix on 2.4 that is going to do us in. We will have... Oh no, we won't even be able to draw Magma Hound. That's right. We will just be faced up against a Phoenix before we even get the opportunity to play. And they go Windweaver. Let's see if they dodge with the Phoenix. Alright. So Emberwind Invoker is definitely looking sweet. My only question is there anything else we can do? No, there's nothing too crazy that we can do. However, we can line it up that the Borean Windweaver will attempt to trade with Nexus Overwatch. We could also play Zephyr Mage because it's level gated, but I think we just want to play our best cards here. We're racing the Phoenix. I'll check to see in a second what other cards my opponent has leveled. But honestly, this all seems pretty good. We've got some really strong creatures out here. And let's see what my opponent has leveled. So they play the Phoenix and... what did they play? A Technosmith targeting Shatterbolt. That's fine, though it will deal with our Blightsteel potentially, or Scrapforge potentially. Cinder Colossus, that's also fine. And they also have their own Scrapforge Titan. So that's a little bit less than fine. And they have an Alolan Strategist. So they've got some good cards as well as a good legend. They go for a Frost Shatter Strike so that they can get some trade-offsies here. And what do we want to do? If we play Flame Rift Instigator, then we can trade with Nexus Overwatch, but we can also just not do that and still trade with Nexus Overwatch. We don't have to, though. That's the other crazy part, but I think I want to. Freeing up some lanes gives me a little bit more options for Razortooth Stalker here, so I think this is fine. 2 damage to a creature, eh? Okay. Okay, I see your 2 damage to a creature. We'll see if that's relevant. So what I'm kind of concocting in my head is Borean Stormweaver pinging itself so that Razortooth Stalker can get the hell out of there. I don't actually know if we're doing all that. Alright, my opponent gets the 9/9 roll, so pretty lucky there. And they go for the Shatterbolt on my dude. I think we go Borean Stormweaver, and then we plan on taking it out with Borean Stormweaver. That's better than just blocking it. And then we'll go open lane Razortooth Stalker. And it looks like my guy's locked in here, but he's really not, especially when you consider that we've got Borean Windweaver. But we also have Emberwind Invoker and Scrapforge Titan. Scrapforge may line up really well against taking out whatever goes in this lane. I'm going to ignore that Technosmith for sure. But if they play like another Technosmith-esque statted creature here, no, they play their own Scrapforge. Interesting. Well, I can trade scrap for scrap. Can also trade scrap for techno. We're definitely going to do that. Oh wait, Emberwind Invoker eats Scrapforge Titan. That's pretty reasonable. And then... Okay, so the only other thing, if I played Borean Windweaver... No, I'd run out of lanes. Okay. There's no way to make both of these creatures battle through, but also not... Yeah, I was trying to think, because Razortooth Stalker with more mobility could go into lane 1, and then the Borean Stormweaver can come over to lane 2 and get an Emberwind Invoker trigger. But that would mean that Razortooth Stalker doesn't get the Emberwind Invoker trigger. And I'm pretty sure I want Razortooth Stalker to get that Emberwind trigger. Could also just put the Scrappies in front of each other and they'll bounce off each other forever. I don't actually think that favors me because my opponent probably has more pump in his deck. And yeah, okay, I don't like that play. So let's go Emberwind Invoker. Slide over right here. And then I think let's offer Scrappy to be able to trade with Technosmith. I could have also positive battled Emberwind Invoker on Technosmith, but I don't want to put damage on my Emberwind Invoker. My Emberwind Invoker just has the ability to grow up so strong right now. Grow up into a big, healthy boy. Alright, Techno on Stalker, so they're going to attempt to take it out in 2, and unfortunately that's actually going to work, isn't it? Yeah, it is, because I don't have the space with which to move right now. Okay. So that's kind of a bummer. Means I get to level solid cards right now. Yeah, alright. I get to level a free spell, and I get to play a Razortooth Stalker. So this is, I think, what I was talking about last game. I'm not sure, it was a little bit ago. But I think it was last game that I was talking about wanting, when you have Razortooth Stalker, just wanting to trade shit off. Because the sooner you trade shit off, the more lanes you have open, and the more chances you can get Razortooth Stalker triggers in. But this looks pretty good for us. So you're going to chump block there and then let Razortooth Stalker hit him. It's going to go Frost Shatter Strike. So that's a trade, but yeah, Razortooth Stalker gets to hit him twice. We'll Technosmith for the trade. Level up Stonefist, that's fine. Our opponent does have a Scrappy in the deck, as do we. But yeah, it means we definitely just... I guess we just gotta pressure him. Because if he draws his Scrappy and we don't, it's not gonna be great. But it does kind of depend when he draws his Scrappy. Alright, that gets finished off with anything, including a trigger. That was a chump block. Okay, and then we get to trigger finish this off. And I actually just want to move everything out of the center lane. So, because if he plays a Scrappy, I still want to have my center lane available. And we're just going to play the highest attack creatures that we have. We're definitely not moving that into the center. Alright, so that opened up center for Nexus Overwatch here. And Nexus Pilot. I'll probably just go Overwatch level Pilot and then play Stormweaver in front of whichever creature is not Scrapforge Titan. My opponent also might just not draw Scrappy. Alright, that's pretty much Scrapforge Titan. I'll count it. And that is not Scrapforge Titan. But unfortunately, we don't get a trigger there. So how much damage is this? This is 16 damages. Yeah, we don't really have any other plays. We'll just play this level Pilot and play Stormweaver. I think damage is more important right now than not having this guy take damage. And also, sweet, we got there. So, we're going to have either better or about the same luck as our opponent here. Since we are on the aggressive right now, my Scrappy is probably just going to eat my opponent's Forge Plate Sentry. And that's not a real play, right? Does he have Ordnance Captain? His Frost Shatter Strike. I guess that's reasonable. I still like... So this card deals 13 damage to my opponent by him chump blocking it and doesn't deal with the creature. This card deals 14 damage to him and would have dealt with this creature. So it was definitely the wrong play from my opponent there. And a Razortooth Stalker will be lethal as well, so that'll seal the deal. And we don't have to worry about my opponent's Scrapforge Titan. We drew our own. This card really shouldn't be in the draft pool. It feels pretty lame to have to play against it, and it doesn't really even feel that like, look at what I did. I played a 2020. I played a 2030 or 2040. Like a bigger creature than my opponents could ever have to deal with. It's almost a 2050. Which is just absurd. It's really absurd levels. But that's fine. That puts us 2-1 in our draft today. So let's keep them coming. For people that just joined, take a look at the deck here. We've got the Scrapforge Titan, 2 Overwatches with which to level it. Also to level it, we've got a Meta Transfer and a Techno Smith. And then we also have a Siphon Augmentation as a free card to level. Some other things to level: 1 Stonefist Giant, 1 Firemane Steed, and a Cinder Colossus. And then we've got a mobility theme with Windweaver, Zephyr Mage, Guardian, Hellion, Elementalist, Titan, Evoker, Aegis Wings, Double Stalker, War Charger, Firemane Steed, and I guess Cragwalker. So pretty solid list we're working here, but a lot of different random synergies. A 2-card Defender package, and that. Okay, so Scrapforge. Yeah, there's nothing that makes it good. I don't have any formation. I guess I could move it with Windweaver and then pump it with Firebringer Uranti. But I also don't think I'm that far behind by just putting it out on the battlefield. Like, I don't really think that hurts me. We're so early in the game that I think I just want to play my solid setup creatures here. I would have loved to have leveled it with the Meta Transfer or the Overwatch instead, but sometimes you don't draw those cards. Yeah, now we're kind of playing a hedge where we played this really aggressive threat, but now I'm going to level some cards. And I think that's the play. Yeah, let's just level some cards. Let's level Zephyr Mage and Meta Transfer on Razortooth Stalker. Leaving this alone is kind of scary. We can kill it with Warbringer Uranti, though. That's pretty good. We could also kill it with Aegis Wings or Flame Rift Instigator. But I think what I'd like to do... Alright, that's good. And then they're going to shrink its attack so they trade, I believe. This gives -4 attack, right? Yeah. Oh, it's -4 attack this turn. Oh, I forgot about that. I thought it was -4 attack. I'm thinking of the Onyxium card. So, that's fine. They'll trade. Oh yeah, this works out well. I'll get to move the Razortooth Stalker back over here. Get to kill... Alright, so now I actually like a slightly different play. Borean Stormweaver just to finish this off. Razortooth Stalker's going to finish this off. Warbringer Uranti's going to finish this off and make Nexus Overwatch into a positive battle. I guess my opponent can shrink this to save this, or shrink this to be able to trade or positive battle with this. They get to do one of them. We weren't able to kill both of their creatures without making a play that didn't level Borean Stormweaver, which that wasn't going to happen. They still have the same options. Turn this into a positive battle, or turn this into a positive battle. They decide to keep around their poison creature, which is fine. If I use Windweaver to move this, I will be able to ping this off. Windweaver could also go here, but that doesn't do anything for me. I think we want to make the Windweaver play. So then it's either Technosmith to trade with Shimmerfang Serpent. Seems pretty reasonable. I could also Windborn Hellion, or just play Ionic War Charger, which is probably the worst play. I think I'm going to play Technosmith. I still don't feel comfortable enough leveling this, but look at this. This card's good. You move one creature, and we're moving. But how many mobility cards did we level? No, we leveled quite a bit. Okay. So let's do Stormweaver. Let's move this. Finish this off. Oops, nope, we're not playing that. We're playing Technosmith, leveling Windborn Hellion. I think this works out well for us. Oh, we still get to keep our Stormweaver, too. Yeah, it's pretty good. They'll get to finish it off pretty easily here, but that's still pretty good. Well, that's not a card we want sticking around forever. Neither is that. Alright, my opponent has some pretty reasonable ones here. This is -7 attack. +2. Yeah, we're going to do like this and level up. I guess Firemane Steed. I could have also leveled the Titan there. And then I'm going to go Instigator here to trade. Now my opponent can pump their Technosmith, and Technosmith is a 2/2, like it always should have been. or my opponent can pump this. Yeah, cool. So we trade off boards even though I have only played level 1 cards. And that is precisely the reason that you'll see me a lot of times with my level 2 creatures. Now, I'm about to disregard this advice, but with my level 2 creatures, I don't block. Because when you block with your level 2s against level 1s, it means that your level 2s can just get finished off by another round of level 1s, rather than being able to snowball your opponent. I'm going to disregard that advice on this turn for 2 reasons in particular. The first reason is that I still have a lot of level 2s in my deck. I missed them all on level 1. I only have 3 here. There's a decent chance that I can play out level 2s for the rest of this player level. Let's not forget that I power leveled some cards, so I have 6 more level 2 cards in my deck right now. The other reason is because I have Razortooth Stalker, which I've talked about when playing Razortooth Stalker, just wanting to open lane a bunch of stuff and, or not open lane, rather, block with a bunch of stuff so that more cards die. So I can either I'm going to play Zephyr Mage and Razortooth Stalker, and I think we'll play the Razortooth Stalker now. I don't love putting it in the corner, but we are backing it up with the Zephyr Mage as well. So that should be good. And what we really wanted to put here was a Scrapforge Titan. Looks like we didn't draw it. We might draw it next turn. We'll figure out what to do with this. We can afford to take 5 for a few turns here. But, alright, my opponent goes Aetherphage and misses. That's really good for us. The only other good play they could have would be Matrix Warden right here. Looks like they don't have it. So we are going to Zephyr Mage this Stalker, and we're going to get the hell out of dodge there with that. So Zephyr Mage on Stalker, that gives it mobility 3 because those stack. We'll be able to hit them for 16 and get in there. And then I'm going to Technosmith, and I have the option of either Stormweaver or Stalker here. And I'm actually going to level Stormweaver and play Stalker. I think that we are in a pretty aggressive position right now. I want to try to snowball with that. We did grab the Scrapforge Titan, and we grabbed Emberwind Invoker. So both of those are pretty good. Our opponent will likely play a level 1 to trade here. So the reason that I didn't is when I originally played the Stalker, I put it here. I figured the Zephyr, based off of, I felt like the Zephyr was going to survive, but even if it didn't, we were blocking just the smaller creature with our original Razortooth Stalker, and that probably meant that, I'm going to make this play while I'm talking here. Since we blocked the smaller creature with the Razortooth Stalker, we were just putting more damage on it. So that was why I opted to block that way. I could see blocking the other way, though, just so the Razortooth Stalker had more room for mobility. But it wound up, almost working out better in our favor because our opponent thought they could block the Razortooth Stalker by putting creatures in 1 and 2. And then when it turned out they couldn't, they were a little bit boned there. Looks like they are going to catch our guy here, and they are going to otherwise not do too much. So I think we just go Scrappy on the block, and I think I'm going to throw Instigator in front of this. If we take a look at our deck, it's not terribly likely that we're going to just completely brick. If we do, it's not that big of a deal. If we open lane this, it's only going to trade with a level 1 creature. And we really just want to make sure we're getting the Wirewood Ranger off the table as soon as possible. So this might actually be a game where our opponent is able to take down a Scrappy. I'm not totally convinced of that fact because we if they haven't played too many cards that would be able to like pump it up here. That's a little bit unfortunate that, I mean, we just didn't draft that many battle effects in this deck. We have no dogs. Yeah, no dogs. Just Warbringer Uranti and preemptive Stormweavers. So otherwise, oh, and my opponent's going to play a... What the hell did they play? They gave +3 attack. Oh, that was the Wirewood Ranger trigger. And then they're going to chump block with a level 3. That doesn't seem great. I could also just run over here and eat this, though. I just play Uranti Elementalist, eat it, nom, and then my Scrapforge doesn't have any attack missing from it. Oh, but it's only minus attack this turn. I keep forgetting that. But if my opponent hits another level 3 creature, they will be able to trade with this Scrappy. I think I take this battle and just be happy with it. Yeah, let's just be happy with what our opponent presents us here. And I'm just going to play the best on-board cards here. Our opponent let us eat a card. Let's just eat a card here. Alright, our opponent is drawing 2 cards, and they aren't going to be able to use their Palladium Pulse Mage at all. So, yeah, that was pretty successful. Looks like Scrapforge did it again. Who would have thought you could win with Scrapforge Titan in draft? Alright, our opponent levels something, but I don't think we're making it to the next player level right now. Let's put damage on Razortooth Stalker. Means it can be finished off with poison, but this is fine. And I think this game's just about done now. Okay. Good shit. Good shit from my opponent. And they were able to get that. And I am, I'm a little bit punished. Oh, right, because that's a free card. Cool. However, 4 damage means that that's probably going to be GG's there. Let's battle. Okay, yeah, they resign. Yeah, that's unfortunate. They could have blocked... Yeah, they could have blocked the other way around. They could have put Pulse Mage on the Technosmith. Or, I'm sorry. They could have put the Scout Drone on the Technosmith and the Pulse Mage on the Razortooth Stalker for my turn. So they could have played around that a little bit better. Here we go, jumping into game 3. You know, even though we lost our draft earlier, that's still good, because I need to burn through these event tickets somehow, and just doing 2 drafts a day isn't going to be enough to burn through them. Looks like Razortooth Stalker open lane. If we put it in the center lane... Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to put it here. So if we put it in the center lane, the best play for our opponent is potentially to put creatures in 2 and 4 so that we don't have a space for Nexus Overwatch. Yeah, now they just get to make the play of block it, and they should probably block in 1 and 2. Yeah, that's correct. I kind of just want to level cards here. Is that crazy? Oh, maybe it is crazy. I have Steelskin Spelunker. Okay, yeah, that's crazy. Steelskin Spelunker it is. That's going to give me a better onboard play, because that's crazy. And level up War Charger. I get to level up great cards, play great cards, and now I've got a 6/8. That's better than the equity that I'd get by having a leveled Nexus Overwatch in our deck. And actually gives us a better battlefield than the play I would have made. So the other option for a play... Ooh! Get her done. The other option for a play would be move Razortooth to 1, put Techno in 2, and then put Overwatch in the center lane. But with this, we don't even have to. So we can go Avalanche Guardian, Flame Rift, Avalanche, Emberwind. I do think I like playing Avalanche here, just because it lines up so well against the board. I could take this time to level Cinder Colossus instead of Emberwind Invoker. Though Emberwind Invoker, really good stats too. Let's play Emberwind Invoker. And let's play it here. Yeah, that's fine. Trying to think about Borean Windweaver plays, but there's so many different variables that could happen that it's pretty hard to account for all of them. Yeah, that might not have been the best. But now, like, yeah. No, it's fine, because these are going to trade, these are going to trade, and this still gets to move. Or I could do some other weird shit with it. Okay, he's going to shoot this down. That's going to be a pretty good card against me. So now is it 3? Scrappy can go here. What could go here? Just Borean Windweaver. But Scrappy can go here. And then I'll have a 6/4 that's aggressive here. These are trading anyways, so it's not a huge deal. You don't need to apologize for saying Evoker in the chat. Oh, you're making fun of my pronunciation. I thought you were just getting excited about Emberwind Evoker. Yeah, I guess you evoke, you don't evoke. But English is a weird language. This E is making this O long, right? Yeah, long O, evoker. So it's supposed to be evoker. Yeah, you're right. But evoker it is. I'm still going with it. Alrighty. This all looks pretty standard here. This all looks fine. We're going to do like this, and we're going to do like this. Opponent has leveled a lot of Swamp Moss Lurkers, which I think is going to be pretty good for us if we start drawing underdrops. Oh, I see. I may have been saying Invoker. I really couldn't tell you. I mess up a lot of names, and there's a lot of, like, is it a... Like, I know that this guy comes from somewhere, and he does something to something. And Borean I'm pretty good with, but I don't always say Stormweaver. Or, I'm sorry. I don't always say Storm, and I don't always say Weaver. Sometimes it's Borean Windweaver, or Borean Storm Chaser. I'm not sure. A little unfortunate that neither of our cards line up well against Wartusk, both of our cards line up fine against this. I guess let's make our play first to see what we're left with. That dies to a level 2. Or, I'm sorry, a level 1. This has 10. I don't have anything that's going to deal with that. So I'm going to trade it off with this guy, which I am just going to call this guy. Could also give that some Aegis Wings, but I'm just going to play Techno and level, I think, Warbringer Uranti at this point. Alright, I didn't draw level 1s again, which is kind of unlucky. I really need to draw some level 1 creatures. My opponent plays the defensive Swamp Moss Lurker, which is a fine play, and we don't have Borean Windweaver to make that good. Razortooth Stalker. So Razortooth Stalker, I guess it can just go here. And that's in a fine spot. And 12 is less than 5 plus 4. I would really like to... So, like, if we just dodge, if we just put, like, the War Charger and the Stalker over here, the Stalker could get trapped. They could put 2 blocks on the Stalker. So I think we want to trade stuff off. And I think the way that we want to do that is like this. It's not typically what I'd do, but we already have a play for a level 1 creature that we might draw, so we're fine on that front. You have the meta transfer as well. Borean Windweaver opens up a lot of opportunities to use mobility for our creatures. And they're going to take out this, I imagine. It's to deal 8 damage. And can the creature not get mobility? Negate. What does negate mean? Alright, it can no longer gain that ability. And he pumps this up. I could trade with Windweaver. So what do? We meta transfer. Could also just meta transfer this, eh? Meta transfer on this seems fine. It's about the same. Clears off his board now rather than later. Alright, so let's meta transfer this. I will level Cinder Colossus here. It's a little strange. And then I'll put Borean Windweaver here just to check and see if there's a bug. There is not. We have 3 mobility on that now, but we can just battle. Do I want to just eat his creature? Maybe I shouldn't have even blocked this at all. Maybe I should have just gotten more damage. This is fine. I don't think it really matters that much. It's almost even like gives my opponent the opportunity to make a mistake. They just like try to put a creature in front of this post-combat. Oh no, they have a Venom Fang, so that's pretty good for them. So I think we want these guys to trade off. Or we could play the Avalanche Guardian. You know what? The Avalanche Guardian is going to be able to kill this, and then I can fling it all the way over here anyways. Could also make this a 16-15 by putting Aegis Wings on it. But I do think we want to start getting some damage in right now with our Windweavers. So let's get damage in. Get damage in and clear up the board a little bit. Gotta start hitting them for damage points sometime, right? And we've got some damage monsters here. Not Cinder Colossus, really, but Cinder Colossus could go the way towards helping deal with something, but we also just have Emberwind Invoker to save our Avalanche Guardian and make this guy a 14-17. And then we have Warbringer Uranti for damage push, plus a positive battle right here. That's going to do that and that. So Warbringer Uranti is a damage push, plus it trades with this. Volcanic Giant also trades with this, but it doesn't deal him the damage. Emberwind Invoker means that both of these cards are going to be saved. So if we do Emberwind, we don't want any damage on Windweaver, for sure. Because getting an Emberwind trigger on itself is, like, pretty insane. And then let's just hit him for a bunch more damage. And now we're an aggro deck out of nowhere. There's like some risk in lining up a 7 against a 7 against an Alolan Tempest deck. But that's fine. My opponent doesn't kill my creature on the current battle. This could be really good. Alright, he kills my creature. Reasonable. Pretty reasonable. These trade, so my opponent is giving us that. If I move over, meh. Doesn't really do that much for us. So I think I just want to put armor on Ionic Warcharger. Seems like a solid play, I think. Let's just try to beef this guy up. They probably won't kill Evoker in one shot. And I'm fine trading these off. They won't kill Evoker in one shot. So this might even get a movement trigger on it, which would be pretty good. Alright, they won't be killing it in one shot, but they will be removing the mobility from Warcharger. The armor was able to suck up some of that, and they are going to have the War Tusk stick around at 7. Oh, jeez. 7 is unfortunate. Because it's one more than 6. Huh. 7 being one more than 6 is pretty unlucky, so we have to choose if we want to get rid of our Razortooth Stalker, which unfortunately looks like it might have to be the case. I don't think I'm comfortable taking 44 damage against a breakthrough creature. Well, everything's going to shuffle in, so it won't really matter what's in my deck here. Yeah, I think I like just trading Razortooth Stalker into this. I still take 9 damage, but gets us ready for the next player level. We can make this guy lose all of its attack. We can make this guy lose all of its attack. Let's just save the bigger creature, and I'll level Stonefist, I guess. Yeah, I'm not familiar with my opponent Butters here, but is he big on Soulforge Ladder? Alright, my opponent open lanes that and trades that Though they could have taken 30. 30's a lot to take. Alright, I'm going to trade War Charger into Swamp Moss. And I'm going to level Scrappy, I think. I think we can level Scrappy. Let's win every game of this draft with Scrapforge Titan. Oh, wow. That's really brutal. That's punishing. Oh, okay. Just, I wasn't sure if this was somebody we knew. That is really, really super punishing. However, my opponent isn't able to capitalize on us here. So, we're fine. Play this guy because it survives. Actually, play this guy because it survives. And then I can play this guy. Yeah, all level 1s in 4.2 is a little unlucky, but it's not the most unlucky thing. And yeah, luckily, I mean, my opponent really did not have that much of a pressuring turn on us. Looks like they are going to have one this time. So we'll trade off Emberwind Invoker here. Glad I didn't take all that damage, though. Everything is possible in Solus. Even drawing a hand of all level 1s multiple times in level 4. But that's fine. Look how good our deck is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we've got the Scrappy if we can survive for just a few more moments here. We did also draw Ionic War Charger and Emberwind Invoker that traded off with their level 3 creatures. And they're going to take that out. And we are not quite dead to this. We just need to draw a Scrapforge Titan and an Avalanche Guardian on my next turn. And we need my opponent to not play any cards. I think that that's reasonable. Yeah, not so Forge unless you get all level 1s in 4.3 as well. That's fine. I don't know why I'm thinking that long about this play. Let's just play this and play this. So we'll go down to 2 here. We need to draw Scrappy and we need to draw our 1623. We did not get either of those cards, so we lose. I will give my opponent the opportunity to replace both of his creatures, though. There's a chance that he does that. No, he goes for the winning play. That's unfortunate. But let's queue up and keep it going. We're 3-1 now. So, not a huge deal. We won all of our other games by getting lucky and drawing Scrapforge Titans. So sometimes it's going to... Yeah, sometimes it's just going to bounce the other way, right? Sometimes the game decides you need to lose. I can play Windweaver, but I kind of like Windweaver as an underdrop. I can play Pilot to get aggressive. Or I can play Stonefist Giant just to level a good card. I'm kind of a Stonefist Giant fanboy, so I'm going to play that out. Yeah, math is tough, but that's what makes it fun too. What, was there anything specific that happened, Mongo? Or just brain fart? Sometimes there's like there's math, and then sometimes it's just like, oh, I forgot that that card gave +3. I mean, but sometimes it's just like, oh, I didn't realize that 3 + 7 was 10. I thought 3 + 7 was 11 for some crazy reason today. And that definitely happens. After a while, all these numbers start to blur together. That is a pretty good spot for our Stonefist Giant to be in. That obviously makes it a little worse there. A little worse for wear. But I think we're still doing pretty good. And go Overwatch, level, War Charger, or Spelunker, and then follow up with the other one. I'm going to level War Charger and play the Spelunker, and play the Spelunker right there. So now we have a 6/8, and I'm glad I did not play a Nexus Pilot, because it would have been a dead card. We have the opportunity to level Cinder Colossus and Razortooth Stalker. So it's just a matter of where those creatures are going to get to go. Looks like he's not going to give me too many options for the Stalker here. So that's a little bit... feels bad, man. I can play Uranti Elementalist to eat the Stormweaver. And I don't hate that play, except I think I'm just going to focus on leveling right now. Though I don't know. Think about my deck, and it doesn't have that many Rule of 6 cards. Would that be crazy? To just Uranti Elementalist overwriting my creature so that I can deal with a Stormweaver? Then I could put Razortooth Stalker in the center lane and it would have 2 lanes to move into. Let's do this. I think it's like enough better right now that we can level some slightly worse for wear cards. Oh, okay. Yeah, I had a play similar to that. I had a damaged level 2 Stonefist Giant, so it was like a 7/4. My opponent blocked it with a Tangle Sprout. Yeah, the play's a little weird here. Oh, wow. Okay, my opponent's good. He goes for the post-combat creature. Gotta give my opponent some respect here. He knows what he's doing. Though these are fine. Yeah, my opponent made a pretty good play. The reason that I made the play that I did, and I should have just respected this platinum or titanium, whatever it is, circle around my opponent's portrait. The reason that I made the play that I did is a lot of players would have played this Pterodon Mauler pre-combat and traded this off. My opponent recognized that he needed to lock down this Razortooth Stalker. So that was definitely a good play by him. Meta transfer seems kind of reasonable. It won't translate into our Razortooth Stalker growing, but it still seems reasonable. The only thing that's bad about it is I really don't have that great of cards to level. Borean Stormweaver doesn't have a spot on this board. Actually, that's not true. Borean Stormweaver can go here. But I kind of need to meta transfer. I think I'm just going to level some cards here. I'll level I'll level Aegis Wings. So, yeah, we're just leveling cards here to kind of make up for the fact that we didn't level our Defender creature, whatever it's called, the 3/4. We have an answer to the bear with the Windborn Hellion here. So I'll play that. He gets to finish off this, which, yeah, hopefully that's a juicy enough target. And then he will replace that with a bear. Seems correct. And then he will open lane a Grove Matriarch, and we will rank up. Yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. Yeah, Cinder Colossus. So Nexus Overwatch level Stormweaver. Then I'll just play a Windborn Hellion. Guess I could have moved over my Razortooth Stalker so that I didn't have to put a Nexus Overwatch against a creature that needed to get battled. So that was kind of a mistake. I have meta transfer leveling Siphon Augmentation, though I actually kind of feel like Siphon Augmentation might just wind up being a good play here. My opponent's probably going to block it with a level 1 creature. I could see something like a Grove Matriarch blocking it. It's just going to be Venom Fang blocking it. Alrighty. Alright, well I can meta transfer this. And I can Emberwind Invoker blocking this. So let's just do that. Level up our free card. And make a trade here. This is going to be an interesting game. I would like to draw some leveled cards soon, but other than that, interesting game, yeah. As long as my opponent doesn't get too lucky right here. If he just plays more level 2s than me, well then I'm just kind of boned. But we'll see. That's a level 2. And that's a Ferocious Roar. Ferocious Roar seems just fine here. I can kill Ferocious Roar with... Or I'm sorry, I can kill Venom Fang with Windweaver. I think that seems good. Then I can put 8 damage on this, which I think is actually where I want to be. I just don't have any other ways to deal with a 12-12. So I am going to opt for a chump block there. Cool, I can finish it off with Stonefist Giant, and then I can play a Technosmith and level, like, Aegis Pulse or some shit. I'm just happy to draw some level 2s finally. Alright, and there's his level 2s. Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. I'm going to do like this, and then I'm going to play Technosmith and a level Nexus Pilot, because when I draw it, it can go on the Grove Matriarch here. I don't really have any way with which to deal with this, but we'll figure it out. Alright, I definitely want to play some level... I definitely want to play Steelskin Spelunker. And it's going to give the creature 4 armor, so this will deal 4 to something, and then 4 to something, and then nothing. Yeah, let's just play War Charger. I think this will get us slightly back in the game. I mean, we're falling behind because we got a little bit unlucky, but we're also just falling behind because Warbringer Uranti and Aegis Wings are the only cards that we have that even affect battle. So there's not really that many ways to get back into it with this deck. Opponent puts us down to 30. Then I think he might replace something. Might just replace the plant. That's obviously not doing anything. He moves that over. That doesn't really do anything. However, that did line up well with Uranti, unfortunately. Yeah, so we got the plant. This is 6 armor. So I'll give my guy 10 armor. It would make it a 15-14, which sounds pretty good. But at the same time, we don't have to do it. We also don't actually get anything by doing that play, other than maybe a head on board. 14. So 15-14. 15-14 still gets eaten by a bear. 15-14 still gets eaten by Grove Matriarch. Still gets eaten by Pterodon Mauler. So absolutely everything still just eats that. So let's look at Aegis Wings on Spelunker. It becomes a 20-14 that then takes 3 damage. So it becomes a 20-11. So that actually gives us more trades. Less total armor value, but more trades. Meanwhile, War Charger can either trade with, or not trade with Glider, it can positive battle Glider, or I can eat the sapling and then come over and eat Grove Matriarch. We're slightly worried about another Ferocious Roar at this point. But we need to put some kind of threat on the table, it feels like. So this seems good. Could also just move this over, play Flame Rift Instigator, and play like Razortooth Stalker in the center lane, which will eat the plant and then eat the Umbric Glider if the Glider doesn't move over. Pre or post combat, both of which are options. Aegis Wings saves this though. Then Flame Rift gets to trade. We battle. I move over here. I move over here. His creature obviously can still move, but I think that this gives us some options. Alright, he moves over to push in damage. That might not indicate a roar. We get rewarded because we get to eat his creature now, rather than just have our creature get eaten. That creature, unfortunately, gets eaten. And our opponent has some lethal Plantorinos over there. So Technosmith kind of needs to go in front of you, Pterodon Mauler. And Umbric Glider needs to get blocked, or else my opponent has almost lethal. Does anybody in chat know if there's a way for me to level this right now, other than using Technosmith? Like, if I want to use Technosmith on Nexus Pilot, what do? Do I discard this? Do I have to discard it before I've made my plays for the turn? Or after? Or can I not level this as a free card by hitting the discard button? Then the other option is, do we want Stonefist and Techno to both survive with 7 health and 6 health? Or do we want Stonefist to survive with 17 health? Is that what that is? 17 health? That's gotta be good. Okay. Thank you. So I cannot level that without playing it. It still might be worth leveling, but I'm just gonna level the pilot. I think we want to grow wide here. Because I think my opponent will block Stonefist and Techno. rather than potentially let me snowball with them. So let's level pilot. Yeah, that's a tricky turn too. Alright, we have the Aegis Pulse, which might actually be really good here. And we've got Stormweaver and Razortooth Stalker. If my opponent goes open lane both of their threats, they might just win. Well, they're not going to just win because I can at the very least block both of their threats. Okay, they do that and they roar, which means that I just have to block the bear and I'm okay. So what do we want to live? Stormweaver or Stalker? Bear's going to go down to 11. And I'm going to shuffle in my whole deck. So we have to look at the whole deck. 11, but we could get 8 plus... We could get a 2-drop plus 3 from the Stormweaver to equal out to 11. Or we could just get Instigator. Yeah, but we have a lot of 2-drops. So let's go for 2-drop plus 3. Which means Razortooth Stalker. We will hit our opponent for 31. And we drew all level 3s. So that's good. Borean Stormweaver can battle and survive. Venom Fang would have taken out whichever level 2 we played. Oh, it's going to take out that. Oh, and he's going to go for the 11 points of trample position. Alright, that's a reasonable play from him too. We're going to get Stormweaver. Yeah, our opponent's just looking for any amount of pump. So if they have pump, we lose. If they don't, I think we might even win. They've got the Roar, which is the only thing that we know about, but they're in Tempe's. Yeah, it looks like they have us here. All they would need also would be like 1 point of burst damage. They might be waiting to draw it. That would be really interesting. Nope, they just have it. Yeah, it'd be interesting if they were like waiting because they needed to draw it. Alright, so that's pretty shitty. 3-2. I think. 1 ticket, 75 gold. I think that's 3-2, right? Yes. What time is it? 4:30? Let's do it again. Let's burn through some tickets. Windweaver again. Also Bottomless Puncture. I think this card is super sweet. I'm not sure if it's ever worked for me, mainly because Tempest doesn't have that many good creatures that like stick around all the time. A lot of times the Tempest creatures that opponents play are stuff like Cragwalker. However, if you ever get this off, that just seems so sweet to me. And then you just don't have to do anything the rest of the game. Yeah, the Weekend Warrior, or the... What is this called? A Weekend... something? Oh, it is Weekend Warrior. Is 4-faction singleton constructed. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, I like Bottomless Puncture a whole lot. So I'm going to take it. Ooh, the combo. The 8-8 combo. There's no way that's good, right? Sure, it's fun. And then we either get to be Tempest or... Yeah, there's targets. The main ones are right. The cards that I like to play, the 3/6 and the 4/6. So we could take Zithian Hulk, which is also an abomination. We'll just take Wind Primordial. It's really about what factions you want to play. Tempest hasn't been great for us today. I'll take Necreum. Ooh, immediately get a Dire Hound. That's pretty sweet. Spirit Leash is like maybe reasonable in this faction pairing. In Necreum Utera. Even so, I don't think we want it still. I just think this card's pretty bad. Let's take a Crypt Slime. Contagion Lord. We did it, boys. Looks like we got an A-Bomb draft on our hands. Harbinger of Spring and Abyssal Maul are also good cards, but Contagion Lord, just super sweet. Venom Fang or Fangwood Bear, both solid. I like Venom Fang a little bit more, but Fangwood Bear is solid. Blightwalker. I forgot about Blightwalker. That just means, like, you don't have to just lose when your opponent just plays a dumbass card with Blightwalker. It's also good, but you do have to priority level it. Whereas Wirewood Ranger is just always good. I'm actually going to take Wirewood Ranger here. I changed my mind. And I'll take Grove Matriarch over Spirit Leash. I could take Bear, or I could take Hunter. I think this is actually going to be a pretty good deck for Hunter over Bear. Looks like another Wirewood Ranger. And potentially another Wirewood Ranger, though Grove Huntress is pretty good. I'm not sure the last time I've had to actually just choose between Wirewood Ranger and Grove Huntress. That's tough. Gotta do me dirty like that. I'll take Grove Huntress. So, like, part of the consideration, I have 2 Wirewood Rangers already. It may not be that one is strictly better than the other one, because I don't believe that it is. There might be data that just supports that one of them is better than the other, actually. Actually, I guess one of them does have to be better, and it's probably Grove Huntress. But even on the chance that it's Wirewood Ranger, having access to Grove Huntress, like when cards are close in value, you actually want to differentiate and pick up the different one, because then you are, you know, I think this comes up a lot more in Magic, where say you could put 2 different powerful Planeswalkers in your deck, and they both cost 5 mana. Either one of them is potentially going to win you the game by themselves at some point, but having access to be able to choose which one you want in a particular situation. So it's turn 5, and you have both, like, Chandra and Garruk in your hand, well, then you can choose which one you want to play when you have both options. Whereas if they were just both Chandras, maybe Chandra's just better, but if they were both Chandras, then you don't have that choice. It's also a little bit more apt in Magic, because there's a legend rule where you can't have 2 cards with the same name out at the same time. So it becomes a little bit more relevant there, where, like, the second Chandra is so much worse than the first one. But point still stands. This card's interesting. But I guess it's not even great when half of your creatures aren't even Utera. So I'm just going to grab the A-Bomb. I think we just want as many A-Bombs as we can. I haven't played with Poison Coil in a while. Torrent Soldier is also cool. I worry slightly about diluting the deck. We already have a Contagion Lord. That kind of scares me. However, this card's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, this thing's probably pretty good. Let's take that. Legion Titan will take another. Chiselhearth Hunter. Oh, they buffed this. I guess we'll take Ghost Scale Cobra. It's not bad. Stygian Lotus is pretty cool. It gets you out of a lot of shit. This card's a lot better in Utera Tempest, but it's still pretty good. Bright Skull Phantasm, or Blight Skull Phantasm, also one of my favorite cards. This card is really, really sweet. But Lotus just does so much work and gets you out of situations that no other card could get you out of. Ferocious Roar is a pretty good pickup there. And then I think I'm going to go with Roaming Warclaw as my underdrop of choice. You know what? When I put it that way, the card that we're grabbing here is an underdrop. So let's just grab Swamp Moss Lurker. Let's pick another Wirewood Ranger. Don't think I'm going to grab Ruthless Wanderers. Let's grab another Ghost Scale. Another Grove Huntress. Is this card okay? I guess this is a fine underdrop. It's like Raptor, except you're a little bit more locked into where your cards are going. That's fine. I'm not going to level it on too high of a priority, but it's fine. What does this guy do? Formation, Drain. Now we're going to take Blight Skull. Then I'm going to take another Blight Skull. And then I'm going to take Dr. Frankenbaum or Grave Pact. You know, I think we're actually pretty good on the underdrops. I do think Grave Pact is a pretty good card. It is a pretty good card, isn't it? When you're already in this color combination too, you've got Bright Tusk, Lotus, Grove Huntress, the second half of a Torrent Soldier, Grove Matriarch, Dog that's done its job, a Crypt Slime, second half of a Hunter, a Wirewood Ranger that's going to die. Oh, I forgot. We're picking up all this poison and we've got Venom Drinker. That's kind of cool. So Frankenbaum or Grave Pact. I think I'm actually going to go Grave Pact here. We also have the soulbound creature from Contagion Lord to sacrifice, Contagion Fiend. That's a pretty good sacrifice for Grave Pact. And now we have Frankenbaum over Grove Huntress. This is really going to show how much I love Grove Huntress, isn't it? When I pick it here. How many A-bombs do we have? Do we have enough A-bombs to, like, make sure that we're getting one in each hand? 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half. 5. Alright, let's take another A-bomb. And then we'll finish it off with a Blight Skull. We are always going to have a Blight Skull on the rank up. Take a look at this deck here. We've got the Bottomless Puncture for any Tempest decks. The Venom Drinker to go along with that. As well with the Venom Drinker, we've got a Venom Fang and Torrent Soldier and double Ghost Scale Cobras. So pretty interesting poison thing going on there. And then we've got an A-bomb thing going on where we've got 1 Lord, 4 more A-bombs, and then a Sorrow Harvester, and a Frankabomb. 3 Blight Skulls for the rank up, some cards to go along with Grave Pact, and 2 Grove Huntresses and 3 Wirewood Rangers to help us out in battle. So hopefully this is enough here. Wirewood Ranger or Torrent Soldier? I'm gonna go Ranger. My opponent blocks with his own Wirewood Ranger and then plays an Ancestral Echoes, which is a legend. Okay, that does make his guy survive. Well, I didn't really want to play Zithian Direhound. It lines up kind of well and makes it so that I'll definitely have an A-bomb to sacrifice next turn. The other thing is I could just play Grove Matriarch here. And I will probably still get another A-bomb. It leaves Direhound in my deck. Excuse me. Leaves Direhound in my deck because I do think that Overload cards are pretty good generally to play on rank 2. Got other A-bombs. Levels Grove Matriarch, which is a plus. It means that they don't get to activate Wirewood Ranger. Let's try this out. I think it's a good hedge because we have the Contagion Lord that now we're not in an awkward space if we don't draw any A-bombs next turn. It looks like we did. We drew a shit ton of A-bombs, but this could still definitely work out for us. Bright Tusk Sower could maybe finish off whatever goes here. Nope. That thing's gonna die. And this is gonna get eaten. 5, eh? So these are going to trade, and I'm fine with that trade. I can level Zithian Hulk because it's a fine card to level, and Blightskull Phantasm is also a fine card to level. Sorrow Harvester isn't as good, but I would be playing Sorrow Harvester if I wanted to activate this and see what I drew before committing to any play. What's awkward, so what would I potentially draw that I would want to play instead of the Phantasm? I guess if I draw Grove Huntress, or Wirewood Ranger. Or Venom Fang. But then I'm not leveling Hulk or Phantasm. Alright, let's try this out. So we're going to battle, and now we're looking for Venom Fang. We drew Grove Huntress, which was also one of the cards on our list, because we can put it right there. Oh, what am I doing? I get to play more cards than that. What am I doing, Contagion Lord, buddy? It's been way too long. Oh, how I've missed you. Oh, Contagion Lord. The things you do to me. Yeah, I forgot about that. Is our opponent playing Tempest? I don't think he is, right? We've only seen Uterra cards from him so far, though. So, he might be playing Tempest. We will find out. Yeah, he's played 4 cards. They've all been Uterra. Show me Tempest. Alright, we'll see. But, yeah, for now, we're in a pretty good spot. We got Blight Skull on the rank up, which I don't think will be relevant. My opponent is probably going to block here. He is blocked with all of his creatures on every other turn leading up to this point. So we'll see. Doesn't mean... So, okay, what if our opponent just plays 2 more Uterra cards next turn and conceals his faction? Do we level Bottomless Puncture in the hope that he's Tempest? I don't think we do. But it's interesting. Our deck now is down to 30 cards because we got the dog out of it, and we've leveled the same amount of cards as our opponent. So that's interesting. I think we've leveled much better cards than our opponent. I don't really know how the Ancestral Echoes thing works. It might be a good card. Who knows? Alright, that looks like a trade or something. It's like almost a trade. It's pretty much a trade. And then Legion Titan will get the pump because of that. So it's not a trade, but I could Phantasm to just shrink his guy and eat it. So I'll do that. Though doing that... I'm going to draw a card. I'm not going to draw anything. Okay. So let's shrink his guy and eat it. And just play this. I don't think positioning matters at all, really, right now. The only thing it matters for is, like, cards that spawn cards next to each other. So, we're in a fine spot. I will probably play my A-Bomb alongside Contagion Lord just to make sure we get the activate and don't have to sacrifice Contagion Lord itself. As you all know, this allows you to play an additional card this turn. It isn't just sacrifice an A-Bomb, do nothing. It is a real effect. And there's even a good spot for the Hulk to go. Oh, and there's a good spot for our pump. I would have loved to have pumped the Contagion Lord if nothing else was happening this turn, but this is a perfectly acceptable sequence of events for me here. First round is always just kind of a warm-up round. And we've got 2 Wirewood Rangers and a Venom Fang. So we've got solid cards to play. Venom Fang can finish off whatever level 2 creature he blocks in lane 5. Like if he puts a bear 2 there, Venom Fang can finish it off. And then I can play 2 Wirewood Rangers, which can then pump themselves and get quite out of hand. I don't think there's any side lane cards in the current draft pool. Somebody can maybe verify that for me, but yeah, I haven't seen any side lane cards. Venom Fang could... Well, Venom Fang is going to poison that, I guess, because it has nothing else to poison. And yeah, we battle first. So it's just a matter of what we sacrifice to the Contagion Lord. You could sacrifice this and then just, like, ignore this. Doesn't really get us that much of anywhere. We take, like, maybe 7 times 4. We'd take 28 damage from it. We're at 20, though. Sure, let's take 28 damage. I don't give a fuck. Our opponent is not going to have any type of mobility. There's nothing that I can think of. So, we'll just do that. Gives us a good Stygian Lotus play as well now. Though maybe I should have just traded stuff off because I am probably just going to be out of lanes at this point. So yeah, but whatever. Alright, Stag, Chump Block, and... yeah, I mean, I might just play Chiselhearth Hunter as a 7-1. And Ancestral Echoes so that it is no longer a Chump Block, and his other guy survives. Alright, so this is at 9. So if I hit it for 7, it dies. Though this dies. Interesting. We could have got a lot of poison on this guy if we drew the Venom Drinker. So how much damage do we have to deal to this? We have to deal 7 or it's going to get pumped again. In which case we're taking even more damage from it. So we actually do want to deal 7 to this. So I guess let's do that. We can also make our guys survive. But we don't have to because we could play Stygian Lotus. And we're going to play Stygian Lotus, I think. So rather than make this guy survive, let's just get... I'm going to sneeze. I think we just get better effects out of our pump this way. This also wasn't as much as I thought it was. I fucked that up. I should have pumped this guy. Whoops. Making some mistakes. I blame my sneezes. My sneezes are to blame. We'll still just finish off his board here. Yeah, that's a much worse play than it could have been then. But oh well. We got Blight Skull on the rank up. And drew pretty well. We drew both of our Wirewood Rangers and our Contagion Lord. So, yeah, overall we drew most of the cards we leveled. Our opponent, yeah, like, they're going to play that. It'll get +4. Is that what his creatures are getting right now? Yeah, +4. So it will actually survive the Blight Skull trigger, and that trades. That's pretty lucky for him, too. So I'm going to snap off this block still, though. That's fine. My creature will still positive battle it. It's not, like, super aggressive, but we're doing something. And we drew the 2 cards we just played. Seems reasonable. I'm going to change up my desk real quick for a second and standing all day. Don't mind this weird sound you guys are about to hear. Alrighty then. So we have to put some damage on one of our 2 creatures. I guess we want damage on the Abomination, so that when we sacrifice it, or maybe it's the other way, we want less damage on it, so there's less damage on it, and it's able to stick around longer, so that we have a higher chance to be able to sacrifice it. We'll go unblocked with that, though. Ooh, Stygian Lotus. Well, that'll be really good if my opponent plays 2 big level 3 creatures in the open lanes. To be honest, I wasn't really paying too much attention to the play my opponent just made. So I don't know exactly what happened, if he made a mistake or not with the Lotus. It's a little bit of a tricky card. Sure. There's always potentially options for different plays with it. And there's always like, how risky do you want to be with Lotus? Because sometimes you can make plays that are better. Oh, he just... Okay, I see what you're saying. So he played it pre-combat to soak up more immediate damage rather than playing it post-combat to have it just fill the board. Essentially, he played it... Oh, okay. I didn't know if you just meant, like, his own creatures would have, like, killed it off first or something. So I have a Venom Fang. This will take 6 and 6 plus 4 and 4, so this will die. Wait, there might be a weird play we can make here. So 6 plus 4, that'll leave this at 10. Oh, but this has 11 attack. You just do like this. We battle. I guess we just play the Hulk. It's just a little bit better, but it doesn't really give us anything. I'll have to watch it back later, Mongo. I don't think I was even looking at the screen, and now I can't even remember what the board was like a few turns ago. I apologize. But yeah, I think I like just having more aggressive creatures out here. My opponent could obviously punish us by playing Lotus, but yeah, it looks like we're just going to get more damage through by playing our cards like this. I'm going to pump up my Zithian Hulk to just grow wide a little bit here. Hit my opponent for 19. My opponent can block and kill both of these and the Grove Huntress, and they'll die to Wirewood Ranger. So they desperately need Lotus, and they even need a little bit more than that, because they would survive, right, if they just played a creature in... So here's where my opponent's Lotus play would get tricky. Say they have a Lotus, and they have another creature. So pretty much they just have a Lotus. They can go Lotus in 3, fill the board guaranteed, or they can just play the Lotus. They roll a 75% to hit this spot at first. So it's a 25% to fail plus a 33% to fail on the 25. Oh, so it's actually slightly below 50 to fill the board, which they would have to do. Yeah. And the downside to this play is this is going to be active. So the other play that they could have made would have been Lotus here, right? So they actually guarantee this Lotus here. And they don't need to hit this one. We have Grave Pact, so I'm sure we have lethal in some variety. We just go +3, that's 12 and 14. That's a pretty cool way to win. And then I guess I will also Grave Pact. Get in the nastiest of BM. Had all these. So, my opponent had among the best plays that he could have. But imagine if I didn't have the Grave Pact. Like I just had the pump. maybe my opponent did just have to hope to get lucky. Because, yeah, I was going to have that Wirewood Ranger. The other thing is, if I don't get the Hulk, like if I'm not pumping that Hulk, I get to pump my Grove Huntress to be out of Lotus range. So it was in a pretty bad spot for my opponent. But that is the reason that you play Stygian Lotus, because sometimes there's no other card that can realistically get you back. I mean, what's the card? Destroy all creatures. Edict. Ambriel's Edict. I think that's what it's called, right? Yeah. Ambriel's Edict. That can obviously get you back in any situation, but other than that, like, Lotus is a pretty good comeback mechanic. Opponent's got the Bright Tusk Sower. Let's just Ranger up. Opponent goes with a Chump Block into Nexus Overwatch strategy, but they just might decide that, one, they have a lot of Grove Huntresses in their deck, or two, they just want to put damage on Nexus Overwatch, which both of those are pretty reasonable. This is Sheoldred from SoulforgeLadder.com. I'm going to see if he's on. Does not look like he's on Soulforge Ladder. So we could Venom Fang to finish this off. We could Venom Fang to finish this off. Blocking here. We could Wirewood Ranger pump to finish this off. Could Wirewood Ranger a bunch on the new Wirewood Ranger. I think I like that as well. I could Frankenbomb to get in some damage, but I'm just going to play the best play for the board, I think. I don't think I'm going to worry about life totally just yet. I could have also pumped this, blocking this, to make a 9-5, or I'm sorry, a 6-5 against his 4-6. That would have been likewise good. And here we get considerably worse cards in this hand. Alright, he goes for the Venom Fang trade. He's going to take 6 on my turn. No, he's not. He's just going to lock in that damage there. Oh, I see what you're saying now, Mongo. He pre-combat blocked a creature that wasn't active yet. So he... Right. He just made a play with no upside. Well, we have a Bright Tusk Sower pump, and we can do that post-combat. We can pump our Shimmer Fang. But I think I might like that more as an underdrop as well as the Dire Hound. So that means I'm playing Sorrow Harvester. Could pump the Sorrow Harvester or pump the Bright Tusk. Could also just roll for Lotus. But like my Lotus plays aren't even good here. I'm just ending up with a 4-3. It would just be to level it, really. So let's just do like this. Let's do this and say no. Let's pump up our guy to a 7/7, so it's a positive battle. And then play a Sorrow Harvester. I think that's fine. Is our opponent Tempest this time? They never are. They're never Tempest, never lucky. I think this guy is also... Yeah, it looks like Shieldred is also just playing Utera cards for right now. So, he might be Tempest. Shieldred, if you're watching, don't play a Tempest card. Alright, he's gonna go there, finish off that. We get to draw a card, which is pretty cool. We could also use our Venom Drinker combo, which I don't hate. I mean, I do hate. I don't even know why I said I don't hate it. This is horrible. But it's funny. Having said that, we do have two good cards to play in Blight Skull on the rank up, plus Shard Plate, which is worse on the rank up than it would otherwise be. Let's see what we draw. Grove Huntress. Grove Huntress is also pretty good, but Grove Huntress doesn't get... It's fine. It's fine to have a Grove Huntress be a little bit underleveled. And if we draw the Shard Plate here, we just get so much more rewarded than if we draw the Grove Huntress. Looks like we drew some other cards. But we drew some other cards that are going to be reasonably synergistic. How I would like to deal with this Venom Fang is actually... Or his Bright Tusk is Venom Fang, but not in the way you might think. Oh, and he's got the Venom Fang. That's going to take out... I guess it'll just take out Shard Plate. Yeah. So I drew the exact same hand as my opponent, but because I did draw it second, could just trade everything off. But I think just playing like this puts me a little bit more advantaged here. And Bright Tusk does allow you to overwrite your creatures, so I'll overwrite my poisoned guy and trade off the board like this. And it's funny how drawing the exact same cards just after my opponent can put us in a more advantageous position. Looked like an Enduring Vitality. So all of his Utera creatures get +1/+1 for the rest of the game. That's pretty cool. By pretty cool, I mean that sucks ass. I think we just grow wide against our opponent here. I could Roar. Roar actually isn't horrible against Enduring Vitality, like grow bigger as they're growing bigger. But this just levels the best cards, and making these creatures have 5 toughness doesn't really put them out of any particular range. Now I really want him to play a Tempest creature, because it will not trigger his Vitality, and it will give us a puncture target. Ooh! That was good. Where this guy landed up wound up not being great, but that was still a pretty sweet card for him to play. And yeah, because he kind of rolled the cards that he did, it looks like he just drafted every Utera creature that he could find. And I'm going to not block this because I can eat this. So yeah, he's doing some mono Utera draft. Grave Pact is a pretty good card here. And I got Blight Skull on the rank up. So on the rank up is a -6, so that deals with this. Grave Pact deals with this. But so does everything. Let's see. Yeah, I don't really have to Grave Pact this. Oh, but I want to. I want to Grave Pact so that it's not level gated anymore. Yeah. Alright, so let's battle. Let's trigger. We'll activate here, and I will nug my opponent, throwing away the Dr. Frankenbaum. Kill his Harbinger of Spring. And we're a little bit ahead. Just a little bit. Really just a little bit, because, right, my opponent's going to have level 3 creatures now. Means that my creatures aren't going to be as effective. And he Swamp Moss Lurkers, which gets to trade because of the +1/+1. I can Wirewood Ranger here, and then I have to choose if I want to Shardplate Delver and try to have this random creature grow right now, which doesn't seem particularly fruitful. So if he plays Sideline creature, this is going to have 16. 16 would mean I deal with it with Blight Skull, not with Sorrow Harvester. I deal with it with Venom Fang. I have Grave Pact in the deck still. Let's play Ghost Scale. It's the reason we drafted it. Our life total's high enough that we can take some hits here too. We would have had the answer for it, but we would have had a really awkward answer to it. Our answer would have been... Right? Yeah, because we were going to play Shardplate. So our answer to it would have been Wirewood Ranger Chump Block on it. Growing the Wirewood Ranger. And these are not going to trade. This is not going to trade either. So my Wirewood Ranger is going to kill this right now. It's going to kill the Crypt Slime. It's going to give this +4. Which then gives him a whole nother turn to just play a non-forged creature. So I've got some really good activations here. I've got Contagion Lord, which if you get to activate it, you just get to play another free card. I actually think Contagion Lord is a fantastic underdrop as well as priority level. But I gotta look at what's in the deck. And I'm looking for 7s. So I'm looking at Frankenbaum. And that's it. That's the only other creature that's going to be able to trade with Shimmerfang Serpent. So I'm looking at my plays here. And realistically, that's the play. Because what I'm going to have in the future is going to require me to have made that play. Venom Fang is the one thing that could deal with this by just giving it 6 poison and letting it sit. Okay. Necreum is his other faction. We figured it out. But I think there's a decent chance my opponent's going to have another card that I'm going to need to put poison on. That wasn't one of them. Plays a 9/9 and a 4/4, and then that. Okay, so we do get to almost load us up. Okay, so here's the perfect example of where Lotus is a little bit wonky. Lotus can trade with this, can positive battle this, and then if it goes here, I guess it doesn't affect anything if it goes there. We just really want it to go here and here, but I don't actually want to put my Venom Fang here. I would like to, I think, block with my Venom Fang, actually, right now. Maybe I don't need to. But it's not like I'm going to be able to clean this up in another capacity. So we actually want the Lotus. We actually want the Lotus to go here. So we play it first. Play it first right here. Okay. Easy. That way, if the Lotus didn't wind up going... We just really wanted the Lotus to eat that 1/1, which wasn't really even that important after you think about it for a little bit. And if the Lotus... Like, we could potentially just put this guy wherever the Lotus didn't go. Alright, he gets that done. I've got Light Skull. 9 plus 2 is not enough. Got Frankenbomb. So we can put this to 11. I think we're going to start trying to get some Abomination triggers off of my opponent. Now my opponent can take 2 from the Lotus. In which case their creature gets shrunk a little bit more. Or they can... have the damage get first. Their creature becomes a little bit bigger. But we get to put a bigger thing out there. Alright, they're leaving us with Dr. Frankenbaum for now. They're going to kill it then. Alright, that's unlucky. We're going to block Contagion Lord here. And where does Frankenbaum want to go? Frankenbaum might want to go in front of Bright Tusk. I think it does. So we do like this. Do like this. We hit them for 4. Alright, we're getting there. Slowly chipping away. We've been playing a long game where my opponent has gotten +1/+1 on his creatures the entire game. So that vitality is pretty strong. My opponent's going to finish off my guy here. I'm going to have Blight Skull on the Venom Fang as a positive battle, and Wirewood on this. Takes 4 down to 37. This deals 12 damage, so I'm actually saving more damage, and I'm getting an activation off. So those are definitely my best blocks there. I've got another Wirewood Ranger and a Sorrow Harvester. So, yeah, I mean, we're making some things happen here for sure. Alright, and my opponent's going to finish off the Blight Skull while finishing off the Wirewood Ranger. Both of those plays are pretty good. Oh my god, that's such a big creature. Such a big level 2. We want to pump the Wirewood Ranger. We can give it 8, 4, 6, 9, which is really 8. Sure. Alrighty. Now myself and my opponent are just about even on life totals. Can Grave Pact to draw a card, but it's not a free Grave Pact just yet. Steg is a trade. There's no way that, like, Contagion Fiend, Grave Pact is the right play, right? No, it can't be, because I'm already going to get to save this. Oh, maybe I'm not. Maybe I just want to save Wirewood Ranger and then draw a card. Maybe I want to actually draw a card. Oh wait, I draw a card if I Sorrow Harvester. I draw a card, but I don't get to play another card. Oh, this is one of the trickier Soulforge turns I've seen in a while. And we've got 2 minutes to make a decision. Could Grave Pact, sacrificing Sorrow Harvester. I kill this. I draw a card. Then I get to Bright Tusk Sower here and here. Pump the Sower. That leaves me with a 10-10. Clears his guy. The biggest thing that play is missing is the Wirewood Ranger, which I think is actually what's going to win me the game. I can't Contagion Fiend. I think I want to save Sorrow Harvester, and I'll let my Wirewood Ranger die. In which case, maybe I don't. Maybe I want to battle and then play Bright Tusk Sower. In which case I should pump the other Ranger pre-combat. And I'm going to draw an irrelevant card then. So I draw a card, but it doesn't matter that I'm drawing a card. I could Grave Pact here to save. Then I draw a card. Then I Bright Tusk. Pump, but no Wirewood Ranger. Okay, so we're going Wirewood. We're pumping Wirewood. Was that right? Yeah. I draw a card. It's irrelevant. I battle here. I make a 5/5. I take 1 damage. I gotta start positioning my cards better for these Bright Tusk Sowers. I thought so long about the play, and I fucked up like a mediocre part of it. Okay, looks like we're not gonna get... +3/+3. I could kill this off with the Sower. I think I want to kill this off with the 5/5. So do I just Bright Skull and grow wide? Yeah. And now I'm gonna go wide like that. Then I'm gonna go 10-10, 5/5. And I actually do have to care about this 1/1 because this is gonna generate another 1/1. This doesn't line up that well. I drew Wirewood Rangers on on a spot where I need to be. Yeah, I'm gonna need to just trade those Wirewood Rangers. I'm gonna be slightly ahead because I can't take 8. Could level Bottomless Puncture. I could level Grove Huntress. My opponent has Epidemic in their deck. Did they just play it? I forget everything that's just happened. They didn't just play it. So I could Grove Huntress to deal a little bit more damage on the Bright Tusk Sower. Yeah, they didn't just play it. They played... I know they didn't just play it. Okay, so I have to do this. I get to hit them for 10. And then do I want to play around Epidemic or not? I lose if they just have it. About leveling a card? No, it's about putting one more damage on this. Epidemic probably already kills me is the dumb thing. But we'll do this. Ooh, Lotus. Lotus could be really, really good, especially after my opponent epidemics me. Which I don't want to happen, but this still becomes a... Right now it's a trade, and it becomes a chump block negative battle. After an Epidemic 2. But then Stygian Lotus gets to finish it off. Stygian Lotus... The Oozling actually just became a liability for my opponent, which is cool. This is a pretty cool game of Soulforge. We've had some cool ones today. Alright, no Epidemic, which means I'm slightly punished. That's really good for me. Yeah, because Lotus gets to trade with both of those. Oh. +5, +5, +11, +11. Fuck! So now I'm just chump blocking all of this shit. Wirewood Ranger. So I'm just thinking if, like, I can get any equity out of playing an Abomination. 4, 4, and 4 is not enough. So we need to... battle. Can I just play Ranger? Fuck! I went for the more risky play to try to play around that. I know I could have filled the board, but I don't think I can win if I just fill the board. He just presses battle, and then on my turn I press battle. And I lose. So we lost to Sheoldred's Enduring Vitality. It's getting 5:30. It's getting 5:30. It's getting a little late. I think... I guess we can queue for the next game and lose. I hate not finishing drafts and then the next stream just like start a draft halfway done. Stick is sweet though. Yeah, you know what? We'll call it for there. I'll be back on tomorrow, and we'll have a little bit of a cliffhanger. Thank you guys very much for watching. That's going to be it for today. As I see more people enter the stream. If you guys want to hit that follow button, you'll be notified when I'm streaming. I also set up a Twitter and Facebook. I'm not sure if like they even aggregate that automatically, but yeah, if you want to, I don't really care if you do that, but it would be cool if I could get some more followers on Twitch here. I think that helps me out as well. Probably helps with like their algorithms and stuff, and helps me also just see who's enjoying it and who's liking it. But thank you guys very much for tuning in. I hope you had fun watching, and I will be back on tomorrow. So thank you very much, and have a good one.